Howdy, my name is Rangicus, and I'm a solo indie developer looking to create Shopkeeper's Requiem, a shop management game where you barter items to RPG adventurers. This is week 2 of development, and compared to last week, I didn't get a whole lot done. This week was all about the UI, inventory UI to be specific. Normally, UI wouldn't be made this early in a game's development, but in this game, the inventory is the most pivotal component, because that's where you select and view the items that you've collected in order to sell. UI has always been a challenge for me, and for this project, I was going for full controller support from the very beginning. After I spent about 4 days just trying to get a working prototype of the UI with controller support done, nothing was working. So I said that it doesn't matter, and I don't care about controller support anymore. After that, I was able to whip up the correct menus pretty quickly. That being said, I do want controller support to be in the finished game, but at this point it's just holding me back and I'm going to put it off until later. So I spent about 90% of the week this week just working on controller support GUI. So by the time that I decided to forsake it and I got the menus up and running with solely keyboard and mouse support, the week was over and I was tired and ready for bed. So all of that basically means that I don't have a lot of footage to show you this week. It's just this GUI building. But that doesn't mean that I don't have anything to talk about. I wanted to take this opportunity to bring up some of my plans for the game. One of the main things that I dislike in a lot of modern video games is that you're forced to play the game a specific way. They restrict player freedom and restrict replayability. So I've decided to have a few different methods of accomplishing the various things you need to do in-game. As a shopkeeping game, the core gameplay loop is going to be made up of 2 distinct chunks, obtaining items and then selling them. I have a few ideas of some different methods of obtaining items for the shop. The first one is definitely going to be dungeons. The player will be delving into dungeons themselves, fighting monsters, and taking the items for themselves. This method is going to have high reward, as you won't need to share your items with anyone. But there will also be high risk involved, as if you perish in the dungeons, you will lose all the items you've obtained, along with some time and money for hospital fees. Another method would be going to the nearby Adventurers Guild and hiring an adventurer to get items for you. This method would be considered medium reward, as you'll be losing an amount of money proportionate to the items you want, as well as the skill level of the adventurer you hire. There's going to be a medium risk with this option, as there's always a chance that the adventurer could fall in battle as well. With this, there will be no loss of time, only loss of investment. The third method is playing the stock market game, buying items from other shops or other towns, and selling them for a profit at your own shop. This method is going to be low reward, as, for instance, no one will buy an apple from you if it's half off at the store next door. That being said, it will also be very low risk, as there's always a chance for low items to come back up, and no one's life is at stake here. It's good to reiterate that these are just my ideas at the moment, and there's a chance that they may not reflect on the finished product at all. With that being said, I have some ideas for selling items as well. Just as you'd expect, the first option is standing in your shop yourself and bartering your items away to customers as they walk in. This method is going to be very low investment, as the only thing being spent is your time, and you get to ensure that everything is done the exact way you want it. That being said, you won't be able to do anything besides stand in your shop. You have to personally be there to sell all the items, not letting you explore the world. The second option is to hire an attendant. This would be a monetary investment, but your time would be able to be spent wherever you see fit. The downside here is that you'll be paying your employees, and they're bound to make mistakes every once in a while. The third option was some sort of magical apparatus you could build to automate the running of your shop. The upside here is that you can expect it to run perfectly 100% of the time, a well-oiled machine indeed, giving you the freedom to spend your time elsewhere. But the downside is that this technology will require a great initial investment of time put into research, as well as money to build the contraptions. I hope that, when implemented, these mechanics give players a fine degree of choice and control to determine exactly how they would want their shop to be run. With that being said, that's everything I plan to go over this week. Sorry it was such a short one. Hopefully, by next Sunday, I'll have customers up and running so that your items can be sold. Thanks for tuning into the DevLog. I'll see you next week.